Chapter 8, Kadada. Actress, model, and fashion designer Kadada Jones was Tupac Shakur's fiancée and is the daughter of record producer Quincy Jones and actress Peggy Lipton. Being around other celebrities was just a part of life. Meeting Kadada was just one of those events, and as time went on, we became closer. We hung out together, went shopping, and so on. It was about the same time I met Kimora. Those were the days, or so I thought. We always had girl talk, and the fact that she was dating someone I had previously been with wasn't a source of contention. We didn't get jealous of each other. It was just girl talk stuff. No, I did not become intimate with Kadada. Kimora was too jealous for that. Yes, Kadada knew about Kimora, Sean, and I all being sexually together. Of course she did. We shared that kind of thing. We were open and honest with each other about almost anything. A true friendship, except I couldn't be open and honest about everything. Not anymore. Sean made sure of that. Kadada and Pac were the greatest couple. He was always so cool and yes, sexy. She was so beautiful and fun. Before all the tension and beef, we used to all hang out together. It was always dope vibes. But with Pac shooting and the suspicion surrounding Sean and Jimmy, the vibes between Kadada and I weren't always perfect. Then came that night. Award shows weren't anything new for us at this point. We dolled up as the men groomed. We didn't choose what we wore. A stylist prepared our color palettes, a makeup artist did our makeup, and a hairstylist did our hair. This was just the way of things. We shared the best stylists in the business. Sometimes we would all go to the studio for an event to get our measurements taken, but this time Kadada seemed different. It felt like something was wrong, but when I probed her, she wouldn't say anything. Then the day of the event was here. We would all see each other inside. Even though Sean was my man, as far as props, I had nothing on Kadada. Being Quincy Jones's daughter had perks, and superstardom was among them. Pac wasn't there. When she saw us, she came over to our table. We sat around kicking it in a very dope vibe. Sean knew he was going to clean up this award show. He had all but taken over the East Coast musically. With all the hits, there really was no way he couldn't. Bad Boys is the Hall of Fame stuff now. And Sean P. Diddy Combs knew it. Sean smiled at Kadada as she sat at our table, but something about that smile didn't seem authentic. Soon I would know why. He's sick when he has a grudge against someone. As she sat, Sean said, "Bad Boys is gonna clean the fuck up." From his table, with faith, Chris replied, "Hell yeah, and the new shit we busting out gonna have these niggas sick." Kadada signaled for the waiter to pour her a glass of ginger ale and sat over at her table. As the waiter refreshed her drink, she said, "Pac's music's gonna get some love too." Sean grimaced. "Oh, come on, Sean. I know y'all got y'all differences, but you have to admit the man makes great music." Sean looked at me out the corner of his eye and then took another sip of his favorite cognac and replied, "Bad Boys got the hottest music on the fucking planet. But I ain't tripping. Everybody gotta get they shine, right?" Kadada sighed. "Sean, Tupac thinks you were involved with him getting shot. You two were so close. You need to make this right." Sean responded indignantly. "Why the fuck would that nigga think I had anything to do with it?" Kadada retorted, "Sean, can you blame him?" Sean was obviously not happy with the question, but by his reply, "Hell yeah, I blame him. We had a good thing going, all of us. That nigga turned on me, and he has the fucking balls to blame me for his shooting?" The indignity he managed to spew out while lying through his teeth was something I did not expect. I was thrown back for a moment before interjecting. Do we have to do this tonight? It's Sean's big night." Kimora heard the ruckus and made her way over to our table as well. She sat down and said, "Hey, everybody." With that big dimpled smile, I smiled and replied, "Hey." Kadada also seemed happy to see her as she said, "Hey, what's up, Kimmy?" Kimora, never the type to hold her tongue, went straight at it. "The whole place is buzzing with the fact that you're sitting here accusing Sean of having Pac shot. Y'all kinda, loud." She laughed. Kadada seemed embarrassed as she looked around to see everyone staring and whispering, but she wasn't about to back off. In fact, she doubled down. Anybody here not talking about it ain't real anyway. We all know Sean was behind it. Kimora forced a smile. Honey, we don't have to do this here. Kadada made clear she was not to be silenced as she continued. Oh, let's not hurt the feelings of Sean Puffy Combs. He only had one of the most prolific rappers in the game shot. Sean clenched his hands into fists. If this was anyone else, this would have turned ugly, but this was Quincy Jones's daughter. Sean was a monster in the streets, well feared by men that knew, but he did not want any of the smoke Quincy Jones could bring. Kadada could continue with impunity. Sean could not touch her. Christopher and Mary both wanted to defend the super producer that made them famous. Both started to stand and make their way over to the table, but Sean signaled them off with a firm motion of his hands. They remained in their seats, watching helplessly. Kadada seemed to be on a full rampage. You're not safe in the streets, Sean. You think you're untouchable. Kimora seemed almost red in the face when she grabbed Kadada by the hand, saying, I gotta go to the restroom. Kadada, not willing to stop, snatched her hand away, yelling, Let go of me. Kimora needed her to get a grip and said sternly as a parent speaking to a child mid-tantrum, Da. Kadada turned to her and yelled, What? Kimora nodded toward the crowded room and Kadada looked around. Here she deflated slightly. Kimora, now in control, spoke firm but softly. Let's go powder our nose. Kadada nodded with a grimace and gave a sharp look back at Sean as she walked away. As the tension slowly melted away, I asked Sean, You okay? Sean didn't reply at first. He looked around and saw that no one was really paying attention now and that the ruckus had died down, and stood to get a pitcher of ginger ale from Kadada's table. He poured himself a drink from it, looked around again, saw no one was paying attention, and put the pitcher under the table. What was he doing? Then I heard the distinct sound of liquid being poured into liquid. Oh my God, is he peeing in the pitcher? What the hell? He smiled at me as he brought the pitcher back from under the table and finally replied to me, I'm good. He stood and returned the pitcher to the table. I was in awe. I knew he had a bad temper, but this was disgusting. I'll never eat or drink something after we have an argument again. Kadada and Kimora made their way back to Kadada's table to sit. As Sean watched on quietly, Sean made small talk. Which songs do you think they'll give me awards for? As Kadada poured her drink, Sean's bodyguard made his way over to the table. I think he stopped her from drinking, as everyone else just sat and watched. Jean risked incurring Sean's wrath, if I'm right. Relieved, I replied, Babe, your catalog is crazy. It could be a lot of songs. Sean glared at Kadada's table the entire night.